Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, including Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Ruby, and Rick and Morty. I am your main host, Dylan Hyson, and today I'm joined by Melanie Moyer.
Hello.
Sam Quattro.
Hi.
Jeff Anderson.
Hello.
And Britney Falcon.
Hi.
Which is a stage name, but that's this is going to be a first of our What You've Been Watching podcast, which we'll do semi-weekly. Basically, here we're going to discuss the animated anything which we've been watching recently, but don't necessarily warrant, for whatever reason, a full podcast, whether it's because no one else among our group has been watching them, or because it's maybe an older show or a less popular show or something like that. And this talking about something here doesn't preclude it from having a full podcast later, but this is a nice way to hit on a lot of stuff without having me to watch everything, basically, because that's been a problem I've found is I have to watch everything we have to podcast on, which is a lot. So we're gonna go around the horn here. Everyone's gonna talk for maybe 5 minutes or a little less, and I wanted you to talk about what you've been watching, when you watched it, how you watched it, what you think of it, whether you would recommend it to people. What's notable about it, and also if it's like an anime or something that people might not be familiar with, explain the circumstances if you know them, or if not, just say it's an anime, you know.
I feel like you should write that all down.
There you go. So I'm assuming you all remember that completely. No. And Mel, what have you been watching?
Naturally. I've been watching Bob's Burgers on Netflix. I hope that's fine. Covers the how.
Yeah.
In my living room, I don't know. Bob's Burgers on Netflix. It's kind of like a less rude Family Guy. It's still, I believe, TVY 7 or whatever that rating is, but I mean, as far as TV 14, not Y7. What am I saying?
It airs on Fox, correct?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have any sort of overarching things. It's a very episodic show. And it's about this family who runs a burger joint, and it's a very quirky family. But the nice thing about it is, again, it's kind of like Family Guy, but it's a lot less, I think, offensive to a lot of people. It treats its female characters a lot better. And the family unit in it is also a bit more enjoyable to watch and more cohesive in terms of plot and humor. And the 3 kids in it are just awesome. And I think I'd say, as far as breakout characters go, Tina is probably the one that everyone
I always hear about Tina from
yeah.
Bob's Burgers, from everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's kind of the breakout character. She has her own Twitter. She's a pretty good. She's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to podcast on it, because like I said, it's episodic. It's about sort of sitcom humor, except it's animation. But I like it a lot, and if you are into sort of slightly more adult comedy in the form of animation, then that's definitely something to watch. As I think Netflix is all caught up. It might not have the most recent season, all of it. But when it comes back, I don't know the date that it's supposed to come back, but it should be on Fox when it comes back.
Probably in September. Yeah. This is Bob's Burgers is one of these adult comedy shows, which I'm not sure how we're going to handle on the podcast. We're definitely going to cover Rick and Morty at the end of July, which I think is one of the best shows on television. And I'm going to see how that goes, and if that goes well, then I might try to catch up on Bob's Burgers, or Mel could host Bob's Burgers episodic podcasts in the fall. We'll see on that. But that is a possibility, because I've heard that show is very good.
It is. It's very good.
Any other... So you also watch it, Sam. Any other thoughts on that?
It's good. I like it. Fun facts.
Yes.
Fun fact for the people that are nerds like me. They actually did a music video with Sleater-Kinney, Bob's Burgers, those people. It's like a crossover. It's very nice.
It's fancy. Cool. Also, H. John Benjamin, I believe, the voice actor for Bob and Archer is he's awesome. Yeah. I don't think it's possible for him to voice act something incorrectly at this point. Yeah,
he's very good on Archer. That's one we'll be covering when it comes back, but it's not for a while. Sam, what have you been watching?
So a movie I watched recently, but I saw for like a couple years ago, but I watch it like every so often, and recently was one of those times. It's a movie called Mary and Max. The first time I watched it was through Means, and it's currently on Netflix right now. So you better rush on that.
As is the Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah, Brave Little Toaster and Mary and Max. It's a stop motion animated film. Ooh. It's all monochromatic colors. It's about these pen pals. Mary, who's how old is she? She's an 8-year-old girl who is a pen pal with this 44-year-old man named Max. And it just traces like their relationship throughout the years, and it deals with topics like abuse, mental illness, like quirky humor. It has. I don't know. It's a very interesting movie, and I think that everybody should watch it. Anything else? It has a lot to do with Australia. Ooh. Yeah. Australia is one of the places. That's where Mary's from. Max is from New York. Max is played by the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman. So, yeah.
Aww. Nifty.
Cool.
It's very nifty.
Yeah, I've heard you talk a lot about this one. I should probably watch it.
You should. It's very
I've
sad.
watched it. It's good. It is very sad.
It's very sad. I bawled my eyes out every time.
Who do you think this is appropriate for, this movie?
It's not like... I want to say it's sort of... It, like, runs the mill with maybe, like, Bob's Burgers in terms of, like, appropriateness.
Not very young children, but you wouldn't have to necessarily be, like, an adult. You wouldn't have to be, like, an adult. Maybe like a teenager. Yeah. Like, 13 and above.
Yeah.
That might even be pushing it. You can do, like, 12.
Yeah.
Any other notable things about Mary and Max?
It's a very unique art style.
It does. The director actually won the Academy Award, not for this, but for a short that he did a couple years before it. It's very good. I really like the color palette, because monochromatic is, like, my thing. And, it's just a very good movie, and I think everybody should watch it on Netflix now. There you go.
Cool. Mary and Max, can check that out. Jeff, what have you been watching?
Let's see. I've been watching a couple of shows. I'll say one of them for another iteration of this segment, but one I've been watching is called Aldnoah.Zero. It's ALDNOAH.0, spelled out. And it is a mecha anime. I don't have a huge amount of experience with mecha anime, so I don't know how to compare it to other shows or other archetypal shows, sort of like Evangelion stuff. I believe that's the prime example of mecha. Anyways, This one is the music is fantastic. First off, if you like Attack on Titan, that same composer worked on this show, and and you can definitely tell the different elements that come into it. It's just great music. The plot-wise, it's basically Martians versus humans, but it's all human. The Martians split off from the humans back in the 60s, got some ancient alien tech, and then advanced, and now they're back to take over the planet, pretty much. There's a lot more to it, but that's essentially where we are. And the main character is just an absolute genius. It sort of reminds me of my time watching Death Note, just how an incredibly smart character is. That sort of thing is something I really appreciate about shows, is when you just have these brilliant characters come up with great solutions to problems. So, yeah, Aldnoah.Zero. It's good stuff.
Cool. It looks like it had kind of 2 seasons and is still going to keep going. Also looks like there's a dub either out or being made.
Right. So yeah, I watched the sub.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so 2 seasons, pretty self-contained. So I was actually not aware that they were doing a 3rd season. That's kind of cool. It also deals a lot with an ancient feudal system. Is how the Martians are organized. So you get that dynamic going. As well, if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and enjoyed Zuko's arc, have a little bit of that as well in this show.
What, you're saying there's many anime characters like Zuko? That's a surprise.
Wow.
I would have never guessed.
It looks like also A1 Pictures animates this.
Like the barbecue sauce?
No, Sword Art Online.
Wow.
Sword Art
A1
Online.
barbecue sauce makes anime?
Shinseki Yori, that same studio. So that's good, pretty good track record.
Cool. All trades.
Black Butler, etc.
All trades.
They're one of the bigger ones. Cool. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'll talk about this. I'll also bring up an anime. Not entirely sure how we're going to be doing animes here. It's kind of, we're less likely to review them episode by episode, but maybe we can do them season by season. But of course, our main anime correspondent has not been able to make the podcast yet. Hopefully, we'll get Ali on.
Wait, you mean you were not going to go over every episode of Naruto?
Oh gosh!
Oh my god!
Yeah. Wow. Someone asked about that.
Believe it.
I mean, Mel, did you watch the actual anime Naruto?
Yeah, I've watched a fair bit of it.
Yeah, if you can get someone else who's watched a lot of Naruto, you can do a Naruto podcast.
I've watched like all of the original series and then a bit of Shippuden.
Okay. There you
go. Something to think about.
Mel and Jeff discuss Naruto. There you go. Also, someone wanted us to do One Piece, which I've seen a little bit of, but not enough to do.
Let's do the 4Kids dub of these things.
Yeah, I think I was watching One Piece dubbed. I'm not sure. Anyway, or maybe it was sub. Britt, what have you been watching?
I watched the first episode of Eureka 7. I've been watching Attack on Titan. I watched Shinsekai Yori.
Well, pick one of these to discuss in detail.
I'm going to discuss Shinsekai Yori, which me and Jeff both watched. And it's basically a Brave New World meets Harry Potter meets Avatar The Last Airbender. It's very, very, like, plot intensive and, like, world intensive in the world that they create. Like, I'm really into sci-fi animes. Those are my favorite. Right? So anything that creates, like, a weird world or has crazy physics or there's, like, world is a computer-generated simulation with fairies is, like, my go-to. That's what I want to watch. And this was right up the alley, and it had, like, really a strong plot, and I can't even... Alright, the world, basically, there's a giant apocalypse.
Without getting into too many spoilers.
This is all episode 1 stuff.
Okay,
so basically this is like the prologue that happens at the beginning. There's an apocalypse, and everybody that survives the apocalypse has essentially, like, magic, psychic-based powers, and all the psychic-based power kids go to psychic power school.
Yeah, you tried to get us. We all tried to watch this at some point.
We all watched episode 1, I think, of this together.
Yes, we all watched episode 1 together, and me and Jeff were like, "This is cool. We should watch the rest." And then there's, like, a bunch of problems that happens when you have this much power, and then they have, like, other creatures in the world that they interact with, and the actual plot of the show is, like, the actual, like, main conflict is, like, a huge spoiler, so I can't go too much into that. But just note that the main characters' dynamics are very deep, very emotional. There's a bunch of LBGT stuff, so if you're into that, there's plenty of the gay. And it's just really sweet, really sad, and really intense. So
cool, Jeff. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I really love this show. I think one of the things I liked about it was that there's some very horrible things that happen in this show, but you eventually learn why these decisions had to be made, and it makes sense. So people doing horrible things for really good reasons, it makes the world not so black and white as a lot of shows today are.
Cool. Yeah, this also by, as we said before, by A1 Pictures, and is a few years old, but is completed at this point, 25 episodes. I watched the first episode. I was impressed, and as I do with many animes, I did not continue because I don't know why, but I will probably watch the rest of this, hopefully. Any other thoughts on Shinsekai, which translates to From the New World, by the way? Britt or Jeff?
No? Good stuff.
Cool.
Nope, good stuff.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, so I will wrap this up. The problem I foresee with these What You've Been Watching podcasts is I'm basically watching stuff that we're doing full podcasts on, so I don't have much to contribute here.
Sorry.
So I'll basically say the last anime I watched, which is, I didn't even finish the second season yet, but it's Kiniro Mosaic. It's a slice of life comedy anime. Wow, big surprise!
Wow,
that I watched that. It's in its second. It finished its second season, I believe. Yeah, I've about halfway through the second season. My taste in anime is basically, I prefer slice of lives where nothing happens with cute girls, and that's basically all I watch. But it's like a stress relieving thing. I don't know. It's that's also a big criticism of current state of affairs in anime, is that there's way too many animes like this, that they're way too moe centric with just random cute girls doing everything. And I'm not complaining because I enjoy this genre, but Quattro Mosaic, it's very well done, and I have a lot of good things to say about it. Someone a while ago on Tumblr sent me an ask saying that they were like hesitant to get into anime too much because of the fan service like elements for female characters, so like the sexual exploitations of the female depictions that they have. And one of the ones I was quick to point out that didn't do this was Quattro Mosaic, and I'm like very proud of the show, because this show is about high school characters who, or is it, I assume they're in high school. They look very young, which is prototypical of these types of animes, but they're really just not sexualized at all, which is very nice. My response though to that, by the way, if you're also in this boat of I want to watch more anime, but it sexualizes its female characters too much, there's this weird dichotomy in anime where anime has some of the best depictions of female characters on the planet, I would say. I think anime does a much better job than American TV shows in general of having female leads, of having well-developed female characters, but it also happens to sexualize them. I don't think that that sexualization diminishes the incredible depictions. That's basically where I'm at with this, is that yes, Japan is perverted, but it still is. It's somehow even more feminist than our culture in America, right? Which is bad. But Quattro Mosaic, you can't go wrong with this one. It's very funny. It's a great. Another thing I like about these slice of lives, watch them. My opinion in general with anime: watch anime or animated movies from Japan dubbed in general. Unless they're slice of lives, I really get a lot out of watching slice of life animes subbed, because you get to learn a lot about Japanese culture, and it's really genuine depiction. The only thing I think that gets lost in translation are Japanese cultural elements, which translators try to relate to our culture, when I'd rather just them say the term and then I look it up, and then I know what's actually going on in the slice of life anime. So this one, there's the main group of 5 girls, and there's Yori sub-themes, Yori being female-female romances, but there's nothing overt. It's frustrating in that regard, but it's also clear that 2 of the characters, or 3 specifically, have interest in other girls among the 5 groups. It's all very innocent, which I think makes sense within the very, just general tone of the show, and it's just very nice and funny and calming. Like, that's what I get out of these animes, I guess, a lot, and I would definitely recommend it. And I hope to finish the second season at some point, although it's not like I'm missing anything. Nothing happens. That's the other trademark element of slice of life anime, is nothing happens in them, so there's no spoilers.
That's one of my critiques whenever Dylan's like, here, watch this. I'm like, does anything happen in it?
Yeah,
usually his answer is no.
I understand if you need something plot wise to happen in your animes. I do not. That's fine. So this show though is like the best example of nothing happening in animes. Like, they take like 5-minute segments and then just have them like 4 throughout an episode or something, and just nothing happens. Okay,
I don't know. I kind of like things that happen.
No.
Because if nothing happens, and like it's.
I mean, I would describe it as just a very character centric show. That's all that matters, right?
Okay.
Is the main 5 characters.
So things do happen.
I guess.
Character growth does people.
Sure, yeah, people happen, not events. People, not events. There you go.
There you go.
It's like Dora or Dory in Finding Nemo, and nothing would ever happen.
Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, that's what I.
That happens in Dora the Explorer, though. There's just no character development because she's Dora the Explorer and she needs no. She's perfect.
She's perfect just the way she is.
Swiper, no swiping.
Wow, that was not what Jeff was talking about.
I know! I was making a joke.
Good job, guys. Maybe we can podcast on Dora. No, we're not.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's do a podcast on children's animation.
We could do a podcast on children's animation.
The line is very thin.
I'm not going to be watching episodes of Dora.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either.
What about Nihao Cayenne?
I don't know what that is.
It's basically Dora the Explorer, but it's Chinese, and she does cute things that are not walking around in the jungle.
Wow.
Okay, I don't even know this.
Doc McStuffins.
Okay, well, I think that any comments on any of the shows or movies we've talked about today?
I have a comment on a thing that you were talking about.
Sure.
Sometimes I watch anime dubbed because it annoys our friend Allie.
Yeah, no, she gets really mad.
Okay,
And like she doesn't even know I'm watching something, but I just do it because I know it will annoy her.
I was gonna bring that up when you said you prefer people to watch dubbed. She like freaks out.
A lot of our new listeners will not know who Allie is because she'll never.
Well, that's why I said our friend
Yeah,
Allie.
But yeah, if you do,
You will never get on a podcast.
That is a good reason to be. But for the record, I have not watched a dubbed anime except for like a Miyazaki movie for like years. But that's just a personal preference. I guess
There are very few good dubs.
I would if the dub is good, I'd recommend dubbed except for Slice of Life, like I said. Okay. I think that about wraps it up. It's pretty short, but these are going to be shorter ones. I don't think I'm going to space this out 2 days like the rest of them. But yeah. Thanks for listening to this. Let me know feedback on if you like this format. I think I'm going to call this like a recommendations podcast, because that's kind of basically what we're doing.
I guess.
I don't know. We'll see. A lot of this is inspired by the first half of the Slash Film podcasts, which basically have the What You've Been Watching segments followed by their movie reviews. So I thought, why don't we separate it out? Seems like a good idea. Okay.
Sweet.
I've been Dylan Hyson, Melanie Moyer, Sam Quattro, Britney Falcon, and Jeff Anderson. Can
you at least just call me Brit?
It was
not
nice.
Britney.
It was nice hearing it said out loud.
There you go. You can find everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. One last thing, guys, that I'm starting at the end of this podcast. We just launched our Patreon, and I'm very excited. It's Patreon. You can just check us out on patreon.com/overlyanimated, and we'd really appreciate any support you can give us here. Thank you. And I'm not going to go over all of our Twitters and stuff because there's too many of us, but you can find those on overlyanimated.com. Check out our other podcasts. If this is your first time listening, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Adios.
Toodles.
Bye.